the younger generation is not really watching tennis.
Yeah.
It's the older, the 50 plus,
Correct.
who are still into watching. All the teams in the group are quite good, and even Mongolia's done great to qualify for Group 1. Expect a tough battle. Team India will be ready to fight hard.
New Zealand is a tough challenge. Thailand is a tough challenge. What the best competition you're going to get? Do you have a strategy in place already?
New Zealand's great. Indonesia is extremely tough. Barring a few surprises, we can't really cater for. But other than that, we're just focusing on our own preparation, and come match day, our plans will be in place.
Hello and welcome to TUS Sports. My name is Tanuj Lakhina. I'm joined by Vishal Uppal, who is the captain of the Indian women's Billie Jean King Cup team. There is the competition next week, and it's going to be interesting. Vishal, can you talk about and up what we are going to expect when the tournament begins?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very tough group. All the teams in the group are quite good, and even Mongolia's done great to qualify for Group 1, which is the top group in Asia. I expect a tough battle. I expect everyone to really work hard, and Team India will be ready to fight hard.
Yeah. In terms of competition, let's look at all the teams that are going through that we are going to get. New Zealand is a tough challenge. Thailand is a tough challenge. How do you go basis what the best competition you're going to get, or do you have a strategy in place already of how you're going to approach matches?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. New Zealand's great. Indonesia is extremely tough. I already have my strategy against which team, what we're going to do, and barring a few surprises, we can't really cater for. But other than that, we're just focusing on our own preparation, and come match day, our plans will be in place.
Let me talk about from a larger perspective. Let's start small. What are your expectations out of this competition and this coming 3-4 days?
See, I'm a very process-oriented guy, so I'm only focusing on the process and what we can do on the court, and what energy we bring on court, and what plans we've made, and how well we execute those plans. Obviously the aim is to qualify for the playoffs again, and we'll try our hardest to get there. But that's something in the future. We need to stay in the present and focus on what we need to do to get there. So we're not going to lose our eye on the ball. So every day matters, and we'll just focus on one day at a time.
In terms of larger scheme of things, how do you balance the results from here into a larger what you want to build with women's tennis, with this team? How do you sort of balance that, both those things?
Yeah, look, we've qualified for the playoffs twice in the last 5 years, something we never did before 2020. In 42 years, we never did it. Obviously, that shows you that the depth in women's tennis is getting better. The way to balance it is, in my opinion, to try and provide opportunities for a larger group of people to play international competitions in India, to make sure they're getting good training and whatever their needs are being met. Instead of just focusing on one or two players, I think if we start really paying attention to, let's say, 50, 75, 100 players, then the cream will rise to the top. So I think we need to make instead of focusing on one or two players, we need to focus on the entire ecosystem of the game.
How do you build on that ecosystem? I mean, the number of tournaments have obviously increased gradually over the last couple of years, but still a huge chunk of Indian players have to go abroad to play tournaments. That is one of the big challenges.
Yeah, we've got to do strategic planning even with the tournaments and stuff. Obviously now we've started doing a lot more W15s, which I think really helps the 15, 16, 17-year-old girls get international competition under their belt and get some exposure. So it has to be strategic planning. It has to be a lot of everyone, all the stakeholders in the game of tennis coming together and working together as a team, and seeing how we can develop and elevate the levels of tennis in India.
Over the last, maybe let's say 20 years maybe, a lot of the players, or a lot of the attention, after Lee and Hesh, a lot of the attention that we've given is to the singles players, while the best results have come from the doubles players. So how do you sort of marry both the things to make the sport more popular?
Well, look, I look at it as two different games in the same sport. You know, singles has its charm, doubles has its charm, singles has its challenges, so does doubles. So for me, if you think about it, world over, majority of the players, club level players, they play doubles. They follow doubles a lot. But for me, I think growth for a player has to be as a tennis player, and then whether they go towards singles more or they go towards doubles more is something that really depends on how their journey is coming along. But I think we have to focus on both equally. We can't really say, okay, we'll focus only on singles, not on doubles, or vice versa. I think we just have to focus on both. And like I said, our job should be to get more and more players in the world ranking. Our job should be to get more and more players closer to the Grand Slams, push them into the Grand Slam. Whether it's singles or doubles doesn't matter. We just have to try and get our players reaching higher levels.
Another thing that I was thinking of was that when the sport is marketed, when tennis is marketed, it's the singles players which get a lot of the attention. The marquee players get the attention. Doubles is at the back of the mind. The prize money is also reducing. Mixed is played only in slams. So a lot of the things, a lot of the emphasis is on the singles and less on the doubles. How do you make doubles sexy is what I'm trying to understand.
Well, doubles is sexy.
Yeah, but how do you make
Format is super intense, super interesting. That's something that the ATP and the ITF has to look at. For me per se, if you look at doubles now, it's so much more exciting. You don't know who's winning. With the new format, the scoring format. And as a matter of fact, if you really ask me, singles needs to go that way too. Singles needs to be shortened. Singles needs to be made more, intense, more dramatic. Because the younger generation is not really watching tennis. It's the older, the 50 plus, who are still into watching. And if we want to stay relevant, and if we want to make sure that tennis captures a new audience in the Gen, what is it now? Gen Zs.
Gen Alpha.
So whatever it is, Gen Alpha, or Gen Beta, whatever it is, we have to try and make the scoring format a little bit more compact, a little bit more intense, a little bit more dramatic, a little bit less predictable. Because now if you look at tennis, 9 out of 10 tournaments is going to be a Sinner Alcaraz final. So a tennis fan might just say, I'll just watch the final. Why do I need to watch?
Correct.
Yeah, but that's not the case in doubles. Doubles is far more exciting, far more interesting, far more on the edge, because going to deuce is 1 point. Super tiebreaker replace the final set. So there's a lot more drama in doubles than there is in singles.
But the challenge really is that, and that's something that a lot of players also grapple with, is how do you market it better?
Look, there's a famous saying in Hindi, "Jo dikhta hai wo bikta hai." So if you start showing more doubles on television, you'll see a lot more interest in doubles. It's as simple as that. Even if you look at the channels, the TV channels or whatever, they're only showing singles matches. They're not showing enough doubles matches. So if you start showing more doubles matches, people will take a shine to it, because 80% of the people who are playing club level tennis play doubles. They don't really play singles.
Correct.
So,
and also speaking on the current sort of way of things, really, pickleball is really picking up, taking in a lot of space that was earlier reserved for tennis. How do you see that as someone who's played the sport for a very long time and then now is associated with the sport?
See, I don't think pickleball is taking anything away from tennis. I think that's just a marketing gimmick, or for me it's a fallacy, because tennis has its own following. And just because pickleball is the flavor of the month doesn't mean it's taking anything away from tennis. It's a great thing that it's getting people who have never played sport in their life or never tried sport in their life now trying their hand at something which is a game for me. But it's not really taking anything away from tennis, because tennis is tennis. And nobody's going to wipe away hundreds of years of history. It's a new game. It's fine. It's great. People are playing it. People are having fun. And for India, actually, it's more important that people play some sport. That's how we can develop the sporting ecosystem in the country, the sporting culture, where we can attract people towards sport. And they might take a shine to pickle. They might take a shine to paddle. They might take a shine to tennis. Everything's good, as long as we're becoming more and more of a sporting nation.
In terms of the team composition, I'll get back to the competition. In terms of the team composition, there is Ankita, who's a veteran. Rutuja has also been with the team for a very long time. and then there are young players who are coming up. How do you sort of work with a team like that to not just give advice, but also to be sort of make sense to both sides of the people?
Well, that's not too tough because the team has been buying into what I've been trying to tell the team, and for me the most important thing is Team India, and we have to come together and fight for Team India. That's what matters. Last year I'd said there is no I on this team, there's only a we, and I stand by that every day. And look, the youth brings the energy, and the other girls bring the experience. So it's a good mix of both experience and energy, and I think if we can execute our plans well this week, then I think will give us a good shot.
Last question. As a former player, does it give you an edge in trying to understand what a player is going through and what is happening on the court? Or someone who's not played the sport as a professional, is that different? And if at all, is it different? What is the difference?
Well, it's a big difference. If I've played tennis before at a competitive level, I know the ups and downs a player goes through, what's happening in their mind. You can obviously look at your opponent, look at tactically what changes you need to make. You can look at your own player and say, okay, this is when we need to get behind them and get them to pick their energy up. There's so many facets of it which you can only kind of look at it if you're trained in that fashion.
Correct.
And if you're not trained in that fashion, a layman will always go to let's say if a player makes an error, a layman will always go to technique. But in competition, technique pretty much goes out of the window. It's your head, it's your mentality. So those finer nuances you can only pick up on if you've played at a certain level, and if you haven't played at a certain level, you're not going to pick it up. So I think having people with experience, competitive experience, especially competitive experience playing for India, matters a lot. And if that can be done even for our junior teams, where all our junior teams are going with former Davis Cup players, former Billie Jean King Cup players, then I think they can bring that certain value and experience to the youngsters also, and help them navigate with the pressure of playing for India. It's such a big pressure. There's privilege, there's people looking at you, people are judging you, just to help them navigate and not only navigate, but also from a younger age, just teach them the value of playing for India. The passion, the pride you must feel representing your country,
especially in front of in front of people who are local people.
Whether it is here, whether it's overseas, you got to have that sense of pride. And I think from a younger age, if we can start helping kids understand that, then I think by the time they come to this level, they're more prepared, they're better prepared, they don't get so awed or overawed. So I think, obviously experienced people matter a lot, and it helps a lot in, look, I'm not teaching these girls how to hit forehands and backhands.
They know that.
We've got results from them. It's not because I was teaching them forehands and backhands. There's something to do with the head, the tactics, and that's why we managed to qualify twice. So there's a lot more than just hitting a tennis ball that goes on. So I think experience always matters, and we need to get more and more experienced people involved.
All right. Thank you so much for giving your time. Thanks so much for joining.